Hello Moment friends, Andang here taking a quick look at update 15.2 with the new roving threat system. There's a lot of changes especially coming to the Beorning with update 15.2, but one of the major things are roving threats that will now be in Western Gondor. They were already in Central Gondor. They will also be in the Misty Mountains, Angmar, and Florchel. No idea why those zones in particular, but those are the ones they picked. And so that's what we're doing. So basically you just you go into any major town in Angmar, which there aren't very many major towns granted, but any major town in Angmar, there'll be an automatic quest pop up which I already accepted, and then you can just mithril right over to this guy. He just says that like power is increasing, and so we should totally get rid of all these terrible creatures that are throughout. So let's go ahead and accept all these quests, and basically these last for the day that they're up. And so they're kind of like daily quests just with roving threats, and I don't know if they show up on the minimap. I don't think they do. And so I believe you just have to go find them wherever they are in the actual world. And so like for example, this one says can be found somewhere in Angmar. You should defeat him. That's a great amount of detail there. And as you can see, these are small fellowships, and then there's actual fellowship quests, and these are all level 100. And they're all in Angmar. So I think that this is a really good way to basically be adding another level of content to Angmar. I don't know if Angmar is really the right place for this to be happening, especially from a story point of view where, you know, things are probably winding down. But, you know, it's content that you can do now, and it's here in Angmar and in other zones that people have forgotten. So it's a way to get players back into something, and, you know, it's content. And so at the end of the day, I think that's all that matters. But anyway, I'm going to go find one of these mobs and hopefully take them down. First, though, I think we're going to go ahead and look at the barter items that are here from this guy. And so basically, there's pocketable items that you can slot stuff into, which is nice, I guess, if you're into that. And so you can slot whatever you want. It has the same number of might and vitality, or agility and vitality here. Might and vitality. And so you can just slot whatever you have. But it's the same as an item I have right now, just without the slots, obviously. So a bunch of tapestries, frog pet. But the main draw, first stagers. And you have them for all the different classes. Let's look at a champion. Here we go. Champion Hammer of the first stage. A lot more DPS than my third age weapon, obviously. But, you know, I feel like that, and I'll talk about this later in this video, I feel like that, you know, these roving threats feel just gimmicky, like a gimmicky way to give players the chance to get first stagers, and that's really their only purpose, is to let players grind in the landscape in groups for stuff. And it's nice to have something new to do. You know, it's a different type of gameplay, it's a different type of grind, but at the end of the day it's still just more grinding, I think. And it'll be interesting to see how players receive this system. I think that for the most part people seem to be pretty happy, but I think they might be happy just because it's something different. And I don't think that there's anything too revolutionary, obviously, with this idea. It's just new enemies that are in earlier zones that you can go back to and kill and get a first stager from. And that's pretty much the whole thing that's going on here. So I don't know. I'm kind of neutral on them, but anyway, let's go and kill that first enemy. Alright, so we found our rare arch nemesis here with almost 2 million morale. And this is apparently only a small fellowship. I'd hate to know what the fellowship size is. sized ones are, but let's try fighting him just for the sake of fighting. And as you can see, he does a ridiculous amount of damage, and I'm probably gonna die. If I had a healer, this wouldn't be too bad. You definitely want a small fellowship though. As you can see, I mean, he has almost 2 million morale and is doing a ton of damage. So, not really that much you can actually do against him. And so, there we go. We died. But that kind of gives you an idea of the small fellowship. I'm going to go ahead and find a raid one, see what they're like. So let's go do that. Alright, so we finally found a fellowship mob, and it's up here in the corner here. It has 2,700,000 morale. Let's go poke it with a stick. So, my thoughts on these guys are, you know, it's good that they're adding more group content into the game. That's definitely a good thing. I don't know why they're at level 100. It feels like, especially in, like, it makes sense in Gondor. Feels like in these previous areas, they're literally just making content just to give players something to do. And, I mean, I guess you could argue with that for, like, you know, a lot of group content in LOTRO, but this especially just feels like its sole purpose is to give players something to do in these old areas. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't feel like I really need this. Now, I have seen guides and comments on the forums. Apparently this stuff gives you really good gear, which is great, because you're actually having to hunt down these things, you're having to form a group and go fight it on the landscape. It takes a lot of time to get this going. But why Angmar, the Misty Mountains, and Forochel? Why not, you know, really any place on this side of the map? Why not Great River, Rohan, Fangorn, even Mirkwood? Lothlorien would be a bit of a stretch, but, you know, can literally be putting it anywhere on this map. On this side where the higher level things are. There's no real reason to have it back in Eriador, especially from a story point of view, where these places are supposed to be getting weaker, not stronger, as the war goes on. Because Angmar, we kind of defeated Angmar. It's done. That's the end. Angmar's done. Misty Mountains, yeah, there's probably stuff going on there because, you know, goblins and whatnot. Forochel, who knows what's actually going on there. But Angmar is already challenging enough for low-level players, and sure, these things are, for the most part, way out of the way. And you're probably not going to run into them unless, you know, just by accident, but, you know, these places are still kind of new areas. You can get, especially with the Beorning, up to these places really quickly. And, you know, without it being explained to you, I don't think players would realize that there's a level 100 in the zone. That wouldn't cross their mind. And so maybe they just think that this is like a really, really hard enemy. So they might even get a group together to fight this off. And if they're all new players, they won't know what it is either. So I could see new players not liking this, but luckily it's out of the way enough that I think it would be fine. I think an easy workaround, though, would be to get it to where you have to right-click on the actual NPC to get it to actually move forward the quests that you get from the quest givers, and even have a pop-up quest when you get near them. But make it to where it's for, you know, level 100s, and the enemies don't automatically attack. You actually have to attack them. And I think that would be a very simple change that would greatly affect the low-level player experience, and it would also allow the higher levels to, you know, come in and be doing stuff alongside low levels, which is pretty cool. So I'm pretty mixed on this whole system. I feel like a few tweaks here and there could make it a lot better. But overall, I think it's a decent addition. It's not something that I'm into, but it seems that a lot of players are, and especially with the fact that we're probably not going to have content until after LOTRO's anniversary in April. this is probably a good thing to have, because right now the anniversary is on this beta build, update 15.2.3, which means that basically means that they're likely not planning to have another update until after the anniversary in April. And so that means we're not going to have new content until probably late April or early May. And so keeping that in mind, this is a good addition to the game. It gives players something to do, but like I said, it feels like it really is just to give players something to do, especially in these lower level areas. So, if you're into this sort of thing, or you just want to, grind for a little bit better gear, then, these quests might be good for you. But for me, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. It's something to do, but I don't think that for a lot of players it'd be fun to go to a really old area just to fight just to fight 6 different enemies across the zone that you actually have to go and hunt for unless you have a guide. So, I don't know, mixed feelings, but I know a lot of players that are completionists will probably end up doing them anyway. And it's great for the people who want to have better gear. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this preview video, and definitely once update 16 stuff starts happening, I will be sure to be reporting on that when it hits beta, assuming that there's no NDA, otherwise once NDA goes down. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for more content. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button below. And if you'd like to see more of my daily content, feel free to subscribe, and you'll be notified when that new content comes out. And also, if you'd like to help support my channel and help me continue to create high-quality videos, feel free to support me on Patreon, and you can get all sorts of great rewards in the process. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for another video.